All right, guys, we are back shooting an FAQ style video. And I know it's been a minute since we sauced together a video like this, but if you've been following along lately, we are getting set to move into our new building. And if moving is also on your mind, you're probably thinking, how am I gonna take my awesome PRX rack, take it off the wall, and bring it to my new house? Well, you're in luck. We're gonna show you exactly how to do that today by taking this rack and this bench down. So come along and check it out. Now, this may seem like a daunting task and a lot of tools involved, or it just might be something that is intimidating to you, but don't let it be. You can basically take your directions, read them in reverse order, and follow those steps, and you're gonna be in a good spot. We're gonna keep it really simple today. Go through those steps, pull this stuff off the wall, and you'll be set. If you have an extra set of hands, you can have somebody support the top of the bench, or in my case, it's just me here, so I'm gonna sit in front of the bench and apply just a little bit of support here while I release the shocks. Now, with both shocks released, we're going to deploy the bench and move on to the next step. At this time, you can see we've got the shocks loose here, and it's not a bad idea to, in my case, I'm going to wrap them up, or you can just grab some tape and tape your shocks up here to keep them out of the way. Next steps here are pretty simple. Take your impact with your 1/2-inch bit and pull the leg screws out of the wall. Once you've got all the leg screws out, you've got everything released from the wall. Let's just back the bench up a little bit before we fold it up. For the video's sake here, we've got the bench away from the wall. I'm gonna lift it up, prop it up on this plyo box so we can show you how to then fold it up and go from there. Grab your bench. If you have an extra set of hands, that's always great. Get it flipped over. Now from here, you're just gonna wanna fold your bench into the flat position. Watch your fingers on the wall plate. So this would be the most desirable position to transport your bench from a house to another, or even from a storage unit. The most simplest way to protect this is probably gonna be grab a sheet that you don't care about, an old bed sheet, maybe a big blanket, and just wrap it up. And then you can basically grab your bench just like this and carry it in and out of your houses. Now that the bench is out of here, let's keep the rack folded up and we'll get it pulled off the wall as well. Our first step is gonna be to release 4 nuts that attach the shocks to the wall brackets. So I'm gonna start with that. Okay, now that we have all 4 of the gas shocks released, we're gonna unfold the rack so we can move on to the next step. The shocks are what help deploy and fold up the rack. So if you need to grab another set of hands here, make sure to do that because you're unfolding all of the steel itself and it might be a little bit heavy. So we're gonna carefully lower the rack. Next up is to release the uprights and the pull-up bar from the linkage arms. So depending on how you want to do this, you're gonna want an extra set of hands because once you get all the linkage arms released, you're gonna be left with the uprights freestanding, just connected by the pull-up bar. So let's jump in here and we'll get all the linkage arms released and then we'll move on to the next step. I've got one last linkage arm, just barely threaded on here. So when I get that last one released, I'm gonna have Bones come out from behind the camera and help me lower the uprights and pull-up bar to the ground so that we can separate the pull-up bar from the uprights. Walk your side around over here. And then we can layer down. before we move on to the rest of the wall brackets and linkage arms, let's do these last 2 bolts so we can get the pull-up bar free from the 2 uprights. So same as we said to wrap up your bench, it's not a bad idea to wrap your uprights at the top and maybe wrap them up at the bottom. You can use plastic, tape, an old sheet, something to preserve the finish on your uprights. So we are down to the linkage arms and the wall brackets. It's pretty simple from here. I'm going to wrap the shocks to the linkage arm for the same reason as the bench, just to protect those so that they don't get busted in transit. Just as we did to pull the uprights off the linkage arms, we are going to undo the bolts to free the linkage arms from the wall brackets. A good tip is that when you're pulling all this hardware off the wall, to keep everything organized, just put the washers and everything back on the bolt. We are down to the wall brackets, which is going to be the last step here. We just got to zip these leg bolts out and we'll be finished. If you've attached your rack to a finished wall like this, there might be some paint and some paper that come with it. So be very careful pulling this off the wall, but know that this has been attached to your wall. You have been using it, that there might be a little bit of paint that transfers onto the metal and comes off the wall. And just like that, everything is off the wall. Now, if you're looking for a tip or if your move is going to be extended over a period of time, I would suggest wrapping your linkage arms together, wrapping the wall brackets together. We already talked about the uprights, and putting your hardware in baggies and labeling it. If you're looking for instructions, I'll link all of our instructions down below, or we have a couple videos that can help you out as well. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments. And if this video was helpful to you, smash that thumbs up button for us, and until next time, keep chasing the gains.